Hey, good morning. Welcome to American Reversion. I'm Steve Smith. How are you all today? It's a cold one out there, really cold, about 17 degrees. And we'll be going out hanging Christmas lights again here in a couple of hours. Well, which road are we going to be going down here in the future? We had a good discussion, a lot of good comments on yesterday's video about whether Trump would, should, could, whatever, start a third party. And a lot of people had opinions, a lot of good opinions, a lot of different opinions. You know, it's a good lesson that people that I know, not personally, but, you know, as the background of their comments, came down on different sides with that. And both sides supported their arguments, you know, very well. Why is that? Because history has shown us a lot. You know, it's shown us when things work, when things don't work, what happens as a result of certain actions. You know, that's what makes the world go round, right? And that's the nature of politics. And that's why, you know, not everybody walks in lockstep, nor should they. People have different opinions. And we saw how people can express those opinions respectfully and with the ability to support what they said. We did have a couple that just came out and made those unilateral statements, you know, that don't show a lot of thought behind them. But there was a couple, and I didn't knock them off. I hope that they will develop their ability to, you know, present their case a little bit better, because the better you present your case, the more chance you have of convincing others or influencing others, you know. And I like to watch them too, because, you know, I tell you what, both sides, those who said, you know, the third party should be, and those who said a third party shouldn't be instituted. And, you know, here we're talking about, we know there's a gazillion parties out there that nobody ever heard, but we're talking about the possibility of a third major party. You know, and I'll tell you, I agree with both. Now, Steve, how can you agree with both? Well, I do. I mean, I can see both sides of it, and both sides have good points. So anyway, it's going to be interesting to see what path we go down and what is the results, and you know, it's probably not going to be cut and dried, and people on each side will be able to say in some situations, "See, I told you so," and all that. You see that? You see the picture behind me? Can you see that? That's one of my favorite pictures, and the reason that it is, I have pictures that I have taken of paths, Paths, for those of you who, I know I have a drawl, paths, you know, like paths through the woods. I love paths because they're an example of life. You know, and I've taken just hundreds, maybe thousands of pictures of paths, because when you're working down a path as opposed to a road, although you have a sense of what direction you're going, you know, it's like life. Hopefully, you know what direction you're going. You never see too far down the path. I mean, it's, you know, it goes through the trees, it goes up over a hill, it goes down the hill. And you never know what's around the bend. You hope you're going in the right direction, but you never know exactly what you're going to have to either contend with or that you'll be able to enjoy around the next bend. And those are the things that gives you the opportunities to, you know, to respond you know, appropriately, hopefully. But I love paths, and that's what makes life interesting. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, you know, right? I could make this a religious thing. I won't. I put that over on, I think I already did one on a message on headlights over on the Stonemont Church channel. I haven't checked that channel. I haven't put anything up for a long time. I'm going to start again because I've had people ask me to. And so I will, and I'll check. And if I haven't put up my message on headlights, I will. But it's all about following the proper path. So I like that. But what I liked about this picture And I've had this hanging, and we've had this hanging in our dining room, and then I've put it here, and I don't know where I'll put it next. I like it right here, right now, because it reminds me that well, a couple of things. I'll give you some personal information first, for those of you who care. When Kelly and I started dating, we did. I was way past the point where I wanted to go out clubbing and drinking and eating fancy and all that kind of stuff, and she wasn't really. I mean, she enjoyed that, but she was a little deeper than that. So we spent a lot of our dating time taking walks on paths, and as we got to know each other better, well, I won't get into that. That's getting a little bit too personal. I won't get into that. But we spent a lot of time on paths, and a lot of these paths would have bridges just like that. And so I like the picture for that reason, but also that it shows, if you look at it, I can get out of the way, it's a bridge. That means you're crossing something. You're crossing from one spot to another, and up ahead, you see that the path doesn't continue. It goes to the right and it goes to the left. Now, this isn't meant to be political, because in that, you don't know. You're not saying, oh, the path that way is politically right and that way is politically left. You don't know what's up there. But what it does mean is that we very often come to these spots in our life that we're crossing into a new time, a new era, a new part of our life, a new part of our country's life, I suppose. And up ahead, you're going to have to make a decision. You're going to have to decide whether to go right or to go left. And to keep this non-political, you're going to have to decide which direction to go. Now, when you get across there, you're going to be able to see a little bit of the path ahead, but you're not going to be able to see a lot. And you're going to just have to make your choice, and then you're going to have to deal with it, whatever's on that path. Now, you may go down a path, and you're a mile down there, and the next bridge is washed out, or a mudslide has covered the path, and you got to decide whether to take to the woods or, probably you're going to come back, because paths, the metaphor that I'm using here, you have to stay on the path. And you might have to turn back and take the other path. Okay, well, time wasted. I made the best decision I could. And you'll have people who said you should have gone the other way. Go, see, you should have gone the other way. Well, they didn't know any better than you did, but you made your choice. But finally, when you get to the point, or when it gets to be maybe not in unsurpassable, but if it just gets to be, well, this is ugly. This is taking me, there were beautiful woods over there. This is taking me to a barren wasteland. This is nothing but desert. I'm going to turn around and go the other way, because I think that's better for my life. That's whatever. And so you turn around and go the other way. Or your first choice could be just right. It's just not. It's a bunch of beautiful rolling hills and woods and such. And you'll have your minor little things you have to deal with. But that's right. Anyway, that's why I like that picture. It will remind me of today, because we're at another juncture here. I was watching Jim Jordan. Now we know that the Republicans have taken back the House. It's a razor-thin majority. And he was making his speech on what they were going to be investigating. Now, Jim Jordan is he's one of the better ones in the House, and he went through this whole litany about. I won't try to recreate it, and maybe you all have seen it, but he talked about, well, we need to know about this. We need to find out about it. It was about Hunter Biden's laptop, who suppressed this, who kept this from coming out, who kept this, who kept that. I tell you what, it was a lot of, we're going to investigate, and not much. There wasn't a lot of fire in it. Let me put it that way. The House Republican leadership, McCarthy and all that, they are they're already soft pedaling this bit about impeaching Biden. If there was anybody that needed to be impeached, man, right? But they're already starting out weak. Now they're promising investigations. I have no doubt there will be a million investigations. And I also have very, very little hope that they'll come of anything, because the whole purpose of most of these investigations is going to be for those involved in them to prop up their re-election attempts. See, I did this. See, we ran the investigations on Hunter and on Big Daddy and this and that, and on the FBI, the most corrupt organization. It's become that. Looking into the deep bowels of the corruption of our own government here. Well, I think those bowels are a little too deep to ever be fully discovered, but they're going to make enough noise to sound like they did what they could, and when we get to it, it's all going to fizzle out, because then it's going to be simply used as fodder for, here's what we did, reelect me. And the other side will use it for, see, they're going to try to impeach President Biden, and we have to make sure that they can't, so vote Democrat. No, we investigated this, and we have some we're going to do this, and we're going to do that. It's always we're going to do something, right? Remember how the Durham investigation turned out? Back when I used to run investigations, our investigations came to conclusions and indictments. That's how you measured your success of your investigation. You found out who did it, and then you took them to trial and got convictions. Well, we're not going to see that here. We're going to see a bunch of bloviating and a bunch of smoke and mirrors, and not much fire. So what's the purpose of all this? What is the purpose of all this? Which path are we taking up there, and where does it take us? Well, a park that I used to go to begin my run, some of you may or may not, well, some of you may know this, some of you may not. I used to run. I used to run a lot. And I would run on a path along the edge of Indian Creek in northeast Kansas. And I'd run barefoot. I'd run about 8 miles a day barefoot. And I'd start at a trailhead that was at a park. And the park had a bridge on it much like this. And when you came across that bridge, there was a park, and the path, there was a asphalt path or something for people to take their little walks on and things, and then the trail that I would run was out this way. And out there, it was just a circular path through the park. And that's what's going to happen with this. You're going to get across there. It doesn't matter which way you go. It's going to be one big circle. And nothing will be accomplished. And that's where it comes down to. Whether it's going to be a third party, what effect that's going to have. There will never be a time where enough people will rise up to really have an effect on the political scene in America, not as a grassroots upheaval. It just won't happen. It needs some kind of driving force behind it. Now, interesting thing was, and I think it was Rob Painless made this point, and he's exactly right. He says that third parties have always taken the votes away from the Republicans, and therefore helped the Democrats. And that's true in many ways. I've always said what needs to happen is there needs to be some some operation to where the conservatives put together an alternative liberal party, to split off the votes from the Democrat Party. I mean, if anybody was really smart, if somebody really wanted to do that, if Trump or anybody else really wanted to bring down the Democrats, they would split that off. They would make a secondary party that would split off the votes from the Democrats. But anyway, Rob was exactly right. It does. My question would be, is that enough reason to to not do it? Because things may marginally get better under Republicans, but they never seem to swing back too far. And the real power of a third party would not really be there. There wouldn't be any chance for a president to be elected there, although they should have him on the ballot. But the building of a new party from the ground up. To get these people on, and I mentioned this in yesterday's. It's in the state houses and the state legislatures, and then in some U.S. House districts and perhaps Senate and all that, and building it up. You can't do it from the top. You can change nothing from the top. You have to change the base. It's like if your house burns down, or if it's you don't rebuild it from the top. You rebuild it with a new foundation. That would be too difficult a metaphor to continue down that road, but you get my meaning on that. So the thing here is which way are we going to go? It's going to be interesting. So I don't see any energy out of these Republicans. I can't say that I'm surprised. I'll say that I'm disappointed, because you always had just a little bit of hope, right? Now, hope doesn't make me blind, but I go, well, let's see what happens. It's kind of like when you're young and you hope that Santa Claus brings you a pony. He's not going to, but it's just, you have that little thing in the back of your mind. Wouldn't that be neat if, and how many things do we think, gosh, wouldn't it be great if? Wouldn't it be great if all these investigations actually happened? Wouldn't it be great if they were actually prosecuted like they should be? Wouldn't it be great if all these corrupt people were in jail? Wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be great? Yeah, it would. We know it's not going to happen. So, we each have to choose our path. We each have our bridges to go over. We each decide which way to go. We each decide for ourselves what we think is the best way to handle any situation. And people do have different opinions. And everybody has an opinion as a result of their own experience. So it's going to be interesting, the road ahead. Which way are we going? And what future challenges does that present? And what solutions might it bring? Which I have little hope of. Anyway, I think most of this was to to talk about that I saw Jordan up there just starting the next act of the Kabuki Theater, and don't see much happening. And I know we have a lot of smart people here, so if you'd like to continue that conversation from yesterday, not about whether there should be a third party or not, you feel free to talk about that if you'd like. But what really should happen? What should happen? And try to keep it within the realm of possibility. Fantasy is fun, but real is real. And what should be done? What road are we going to take? What road are you going to choose for yourself? And what road is this country going to take from here on out? And I'll be talking more about, what to do in case of that over on integrated preparedness, because that's more preparedness. This is more politics. So, interesting times, folks. What's that the Chinese curse? May you live in interesting times. Well, we do, so I guess we're cursed. And but they also say, what that other saying, I don't know whether this is true. They say it is. It's one of those things. I don't read Chinese. Probably most of you don't either. They say that the Chinese, or the Japanese, one of them, the Chinese, let's just say, the character for danger is the same as opportunity. Well, that's true too. Look at the lanterns behind me. Freedom and liberty. Still haven't decided which one is which, but that Rob sent me. No, not Rob. Hondo Bob sent me. And think about the dangers associated with those and the opportunities. Okay. You all have a good day. Remember that America needs a reversion. It needs you to be a part of it. It needs me to be a part of it. It needs all of us to be a part of it. And we will see what dangers or opportunities lie ahead for us. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.